In space, making the wrong decision can cost you your life. But if you solve all the riddles, you'll be safe. To activate the navigation system and return to Earth, you need to enter a 3-digit code. You'll need to answer 3 questions to find the correct numbers. How many planets are there in our solar system? What is our planet from the Sun? How many satellites does Mars have? The code is 832. There are 8 planets in the solar system. Earth is the 3rd from the Sun. Mars has 2 satellites, Phobos and Deimos. At a research base on the moon Titan, one of the crew members turns out to be an extraterrestrial spy. Here are the suspects. An engineer who claims to be able to breathe the local air without a spacesuit. A cyberneticist with different eyes. An astrobiologist whose hands are constantly cold. The engineer who says they can breathe on Titan without problems can't be human. The atmosphere here is not suitable for breathing for us. Oh no! 2 astronauts are floating in open space near their spacecraft. Only one of them is tethered to the ship. Who will reach it first? Or maybe they'll do it at the same time. The tethered astronaut will reach the ship first. They can pull themselves along the rope, controlling their movement and speed. The untethered astronaut can't move independently unless they push off something. If they do push off, they will move toward the ship but won't be able to adjust their trajectory or speed. 2 female astronauts on the orbital station seem suspicious. One is always smiling and pretends to act normal. The other one, who is also smiling but always keeping her hands in her pockets. Which of them isn't human? The correct answer is the blonde astronaut. The edge of green fur right here is a clear clue. She hides her furry ears and wears a spacesuit even inside the station, so as not to give away her true nature. Astronauts on board the ISS complete an orbit of Earth every 90 minutes. They move from the bright side into the shadow, and then back to the side of sunlight. So how many sunrises and sunsets do they see every Earth day? 16 times. You just need to divide 24 by 1.5. You're on a spacewalk to repair a satellite, but a sudden bang throws you away from the ship. Your maneuvering system is out of order. How will you get back? You can wait for help, staying still. You can try to move your arms and legs, trying to swim back. Or you can drop one of the tools and push off from it. There's no air in space, so flapping your arms is useless. But throwing a heavy object in the opposite direction will give you momentum in the right direction. You are an astronaut on a damaged spaceship, and your navigation system is down. The only clue left is a message from an unknown intelligence. Your mission control tells you this code is using a simple letter number system. Which planet should you set your course toward? It's Mercury. You receive an alert. A giant asteroid, 7 miles wide, is hurtling towards Earth. A scientist suggests, let's launch a satellite to orbit the asteroid and use solar sails to gradually alter its trajectory. A mechanic says, let's attach thrusters to the asteroid to nudge it off course over time. An astronaut offers to send a spacecraft with gravitational tractors to tow the asteroid away from Earth's path. Which course of action will you choose? Listen to the scientist. Using solar sails or reflective paint can change the asteroid's trajectory through the Yarkovsky effect. gradually deviating it from Earth's path without causing damage. 3 planets sent you a signal offering to land there. The first one responded with a quick hand gesture. The second was silent and nodded. And the third one simply laughed. Which is the best place to go? The silent nod is the most universal gesture of agreement, so it's probably the safest option. A quick hand gesture can be either a greeting or a warning, and laughter without an explanation could mean some unpredictable civilization. There are 3 black holes in front of your ship, a small one, a large one, and a giant one. All of them suck in light and matter, but only one of them is a portal. Which one should you choose? Go for the giant black hole. The blue light is the radiation of a tunnel to another dimension, passing through its center. The small black hole is spinning so rapidly, its gravity will tear apart even light. The larger black hole is almost motionless, like an eternal trap. Space travelers are looking for a good place to land. There are 3 planets ahead of them, but 2 of them hide a serious danger. What planet should they choose? They should opt for the bright green planet with normal vegetation. The black forest on the first planet is the giant tentacles of a creature waiting for prey. The bumps on the second planet are the eyes of a colossal monster that could wake up at any moment. Suddenly you realize you're being pulled toward another black hole. Your only chance is to act fast before you cross the point of no return. You have 3 possible choices. Fire your engines at full power and try to fly straight away from the black hole. Use your thrusters to move sideways, trying to orbit around it and slingshot away. Eject all your cargo to make your ship lighter and escape gravity. What is it going to be? The second option is the safest. Trying to fly straight away is useless because the gravity is too strong. Ejecting cargo won't make a big difference in this case either. Your oxygen tank is leaking, and you have only 10 minutes of air left. You find 3 emergency oxygen tanks, but only one is safe to use. Which tank should you choose to survive? If Tank C is telling the truth, then Tank A is lying, meaning it's not 100% safe. That would mean Tank B is the safe one. But if Tank C is lying, that still makes Tank A unsafe. Either way, Tank B is your best choice. 2 space crews are competing. Who will make it to Saturn faster? Looks like one captain managed to take his spaceship there first. This selfie is supposed to prove it, but something feels off here. Can you see it? Saturn is famous for its rings, and there are clearly no rings in the photo. The captain must have forgotten about it with his desire to win. Your spaceship's navigation system is fried, and you need to get back to Earth. You find a map with 3 route options. Route A is the shortest path, but it takes you through an asteroid field. Route B is longer, but it orbits a black hole. Route C is the longest, but guaranteed safe. Which route should you take? Go for Route B. If you stay outside the event horizon and use the black hole's gravity to slingshot forward, you can travel much faster than the other routes. Your spaceship is losing power and you need to fix it fast. You find 2 wires. The red wire powers life support, but may cause an overload. The blue wire has an unknown function but looks safe and undamaged. Which wire should you connect first? Go for the red wire. Without life support, you won't survive long enough to fix the engine. Once life support is working, you can carefully repair the other systems. It didn't work, so you need to escape. but the only way out is through one of 3 doors. Door 1 leads to a broken gravity-free tunnel where you'll float endlessly. Door 2 leads to an airlock with no suit, meaning you won't last a second. Door 3 leads to a vacuum chamber with an emergency switch for gravity. Door number 3 is the one. If you can hold your breath for a few seconds, you can reach the gravity switch and escape before the vacuum pulls you out. Congrats! You've returned to Earth safely. Do werewolves bother you every full moon? Do ghosts haunt your attic? Do you suspect that your neighbor is a vampire? Well, Amelia is the person you need. She's a professional dealing with supernatural creatures, and here's what her regular day looks like. Right after waking up, Amelia had a simple mental warm-up before a hard-working day. She counted how many vampires there were in a hospital room, and it took her less than half a minute. How much time will you need? Well, the blonde woman has a bloody stain on her cheek. Suspicious. The twins seem to be vampires as well. The first one can't stand the light. The second one's feet are covered with mud. He must have been hunting barefoot last night. The black-haired lady holding her neck is turning into a vampire, and there's also one more vampire hiding beneath the bed. So, there are 5 vampires in total. Next, she decided to figure out which influencer was a vampire. Can you help her spot the supernatural creature? The first lady has a big collection of sunglasses. Is she trying to hide something? But why would she have a mirror then? Vampires have no reflection. The second lady, on the contrary, has no mirrors. She doesn't need them because she's a vampire. So she has a rail to hang on when she turns into a bat. On the first real case today, Amelia has been invited to investigate a biting case at a wedding. Shockingly, it's the groom himself who's been bitten. The bride and her maids look pretty suspicious. The redhead has fangs. The bride has a stain on her dress. And the black-haired lady has blood on her lips. Who's guilty? Look at the groom's body language. He's trying to ask for help, looking at the redhead, so she's not the one who bit him. The bride was the one who was close enough to the groom to bite him and to get that bloody stain. As for the black-haired lady, she just seems to have some makeup malfunctions. Amelia went to buy coffee and found this boy. He got lost. Soon, 2 women, if we can call them this way, appeared in front of her. Both the vampire and the alien claimed that the boy was her son. Help Amelia find out who the mother of the child is, the vampire or the alien. Look at the toy the boy is playing with. It's a little alien, so it seems that the boy and the redhead alien are relatives. Amelia hardly had enough time to drink her coffee when a client wrote to her. He suspected that one of his 2 new maids was a werewolf. Amelia looked at the girls' rooms attentively and realized which one was a werewolf. Have you guessed? The room on the left is messy and untidy, while the right one is almost immaculate. But there's one weird thing. Look at the headboard. There are belts to keep werewolves in place when it's full moon. The girl occupying this room is a werewolf. Amelia went to investigate another case. Someone in this family secretly became a vampire and they bit the father a second ago. Can you help her understand who it was? There's something red on the boy's plate, but it's likely ketchup. He's eating a burger. The boy is drinking something red, but it can be simple juice. Look at the mother. She doesn't seem to be wearing any lipstick, and still, she's got something red next to her lips. She must be a vampire. Plus, she's the only person tall enough to reach the man's neck. A businessman called Amelia and invited her to his office. He was sure that one of his employees was a vampire. Look at these office workers attentively and find the one who's not human. The lady is drinking good old water, and you can see some drops on her chin. The man in a blue shirt is drinking soda. We can see some bubbles in his glass. The blonde man seems to be drinking some tea or coffee, but we can't be sure since his cup isn't transparent. One more hint that he's a vampire is extensive makeup on his face and foundation stains on his white shirt and the plate. It means he covered his pale skin on his face and palms with makeup. He must be the vampire. In the afternoon, Amelia traveled to the seaside to crack some cases connected with mermaids. For example, she had to figure out which mermaid was this man's wife. Have you understood it too? Do you see that tattoo on the man's neck? It's the letter L. The mermaid on the right has a tattoo as well. It's the letter J. They almost likely had the first letters of each other's names tattooed on their skin, so they must be husband and wife. While she was on the beach, Amelia was watching people, and suddenly she realized that one of them wasn't human. Look at these young people playing beach volleyball. Can you figure out who's not human? It's this girl. If you compare her with her friends, she's the only one who's not sweating and isn't red-faced because of the heat and exertion. Amelia decided to take a bus to get to the city. At one point, she realized that some of the passengers on that bus were zombies. Can you spot them too? There are 2 zombies on the bus. This man with a bandage on his neck and one ear missing. And this business lady sitting near the window. She's making bizarre growling noises. After arriving at the city, Amelia found out that a robot had committed a crime. Unfortunately, the police were unable to catch the culprit immediately. But they suspended 3 people, and each of them could be the criminal. They invited Amelia to figure out the true identities of those people. She had a knife, a screwdriver, a bottle of water, and a pen. Which object should she use to reach her goal? Amelia should make the suspects drink from the bottle. The robot will either refuse or short circuit. A scared store owner called Amelia, claiming there was a vampire in his store. When she arrived there, she couldn't find the store owner, but there were 3 other people inside. Look at them attentively and help Amelia figure out which of them is a vampire. Well, the first one's eyes are pretty red, but maybe he hasn't had enough sleep or is coming down with the flu. The second visitor seems to be freezing. Almost all parts of her body are covered with some clothing. Could be the air conditioning. But look at the third person. He's drinking something red from a glass using a straw. He must be the vampire you're looking for. Now, where is that store owner? Amelia decided to drop by her office, and coincidentally, a very pale woman covering a bite on her neck with her hand entered. She said that when she'd been going home the evening before, someone had attacked her and turned her into a vampire. She wanted to find the culprit. After investigating the case, Amelia had 3 suspects. Look at them attentively and find the one who turned the woman into a vampire. This elderly man has no teeth, so he can't be a vampire. This woman has tan marks, but vampires can't sunbathe. So the man wearing gloves must have turned Amelia's client into a vampire. Since it was almost the end of the week, Amelia decided to take a mini vacation and go to visit her friends in Miami. During dinner, they told her about a mysterious mansion with a very bad reputation. Those who once entered it never came back. Amelia went to explore the building. Soon, she realized she was lost. Suddenly, she found herself in a large room with 4 doors. Behind the first door, there was a mummy. Behind the second door, a vampire was hiding. The third door led into the den of a hungry wolf. And behind the fourth door, there was a ghost. Which door should Amelia opt for to get out of the mansion unharmed? The mummy can potentially be very dangerous. The vampire behind the second door is also far from friendly. The wolf, especially hungry, can easily attack a person. In comparison, the ghost is relatively harmless. Amelia should choose the fourth door. And which supernatural creature scares you most? Comment below. Andrew and John went to the city. On their way there, they met Jack, and the 3 men decided to travel together. When they took a break, Jack asked his companions to share some food with him. He had 8 coins, while Andrew had 5 loaves of bread, and John had 3 loaves of bread. The guys divided all that bread equally between the 3 of them. After they had a meal, Jack divided the money fairly. How did he do it? Jack gave Andrew 7 coins, and John got from him just 1 coin. The thing is, the men divided each loaf of bread this way, into 3 pieces. Altogether, they had 24 pieces. Andrew had 15 pieces of bread. He ate 8 of them himself and gave 7 to Jack. John had 9 pieces of bread. He ate 8 of them and gave the remaining one to Jack. So Jack gave 1 coin for each piece of bread. 7 coins to Andrew, who had given him 7 pieces of bread, and 1 coin to John for that 1 piece of bread he had shared. Anna was walking home from work when she heard screams coming from a nearby house. She immediately rushed in to help. What a bad idea, Anna. Anyway, she followed the voice and it guided her to a basement. As soon as she walked in, the door slammed shut. Told ya, a very bad idea. 3 portals opened in front of her, but only 1 led to safety. The first portal was filled with giant poisonous spiders. In the second portal, there was a huge suspended rock that would come crashing down the moment someone stepped in. And in the third portal, there were 7 hungry crocodiles. Which portal should Anna opt for? Anna should pick the second portal. She can throw her shoe inside, wait for the terrible stone to fall, and then escape. Michael was walking along the street when a sealed envelope landed near his feet. Inside, there was a key and a note. Help! 323. Inside the building, Michael found door 323 and used the key to open it. A man, gagged and tied to a chair, was inside. Once free, the man told Michael that 2 men had broken into his office, tied him up, and taken all the money from his safe. Luckily, his hands were free, and he managed to write the note and throw it together with the key out of the window. Michael didn't believe the man and called the police. Why? The envelope was sealed. How could the man do it if he was gagged? Sarah bought some ice cream on Saturday but kept the flavors a secret. When she woke up on Sunday, all the ice cream was gone. She asked everyone in the house if they knew anything about that. James answered he had gone to work early that morning and hadn't seen anything. Mary said she wanted to have a new caramel ice cream in the afternoon. She felt bad she was going to miss it. John didn't even know there was ice cream in the house, but he was looking forward to trying it. Can you figure out who knows something about the missing ice cream? It's Mary. The ice cream flavors were a secret. She couldn't be sure if there was a caramel taste among them. Look at these people very attentively. There's an elderly man wearing a monocle sitting at a table with a plate of expensive steak. At the same time, he's dressed in simple clothing with obvious signs of wear. Then, we've got a businessman wearing an expensive suit, but it has small coffee stains on it. He's eating a simple sandwich. There's also a briefcase full of money next to the man, and he looks slightly dressed. As for this artist, he's dressed in a basic work overall with paint stains. He's drawing on a tablet, and there's a plate with a lobster in front of him. On his neck, there's quite a large gold chain. Now the question is, which of these men is actually rich? Even though the elderly man is eating an expensive dish and wearing a monocle, his worn-out shoes and simple clothing suggest he doesn't have a lot of funds. The businessman is indeed wearing an expensive suit and has a briefcase full of money. But the coffee stains on his suit and his untidy tie hint that he may not actually be wealthy. Plus, he's eating a very simple sandwich. He might be cutting corners on personal expenses. As for the artist, he stands out with his gold chain and a luxurious lobster dish in front of him. Combined with his focus on the cutting-edge tablet, it all suggests that he is the wealthiest. Wealthy businessman Jeff walked into his home office one day and realized that his safe was gone. He immediately called the police to find out who had done it, but everyone in the house had an alibi. Amy, Jeff's wife, said she'd been working out at the gym that morning. The cleaner answered that she had been cleaning the basement and hadn't heard anything. The cook told the police he had been in the kitchen all day preparing meals and never left it. The police immediately figured the case out. Can you do the same? It's the cook. He said he'd never left the kitchen, but look, his shoes are muddy. Mary, Jane, Chris, and Sally were on the train. It was only them and the conductor checking their tickets in the car. Without warning, the lights went out. When they switched on again, Sally was missing. Everyone started looking for her, but they only found her phone and one of her earrings. The conductor started asking questions. Mary said she had been in the other part of the car when the lights had gone out. Jane answered that she had been sleeping at the time. Chris said he'd been reading a book and hadn't seen anything. Who's lying? It's Chris. He couldn't be reading if the lights were out. Maya was a talented scientist who researched new species of frogs. She put all the frogs she had in 3 tanks, N, L, and R. The letters on the tanks stood for the conditions in each tank: no light, light, and regular. In the R tank, there were twice as many frogs as in the L tank. One day, Maya removed 7 frogs from the tank on the right and placed half of the remaining frogs into the N tank. Your task is to figure out what the marking letter of the right tank is. Let's think logically. This letter can't be N because Maya put the frogs into the N tank, so it's either L or R. But we should keep in mind that Maya removed 7 frogs and then split the number in half, which means the right tank had an odd number of frogs before she took those 7 out. But we know that there were twice as many frogs in the R tank than in the L tank, which means that the number of frogs in the R tank was originally even. So the right tank must be the L tank. Kelly got into a car accident and lost her memory. When she recovered, she found out that she was a very popular girl at school and everyone wanted to date her. One day, 3 guys showed up in the hospital and each of them claimed to be her boyfriend. Please help Kelly understand who's telling the truth. The clue is hidden in the pictures by Kelly's bed. In the first one, she's with her family. But in the other picture, she's with a guy who looks exactly like the boy on the left. So, he must be her boyfriend. Several police officers were called to a hotel after one of the employees was found unconscious on the floor. The police checked the cameras to figure out what had happened. They had 3 suspects, all of them hotel guests. Sarah said she had heard some commotion and left because she got scared. James told the police that he'd been outside ordering a taxi to go sightseeing. And John said he'd been sleeping at home. Can you understand who's lying? It's John. He was a guest at the hotel. Then how could he be at home sleeping? Once, an expedition set up camp in the middle of a desert. They decided to spend a few days in that place. But when they woke up, their truck had disappeared. Luckily, they had enough food to last a week, but no power and little water. 3 days later, one of the members of the expedition disappeared. The leader of the team questioned the remaining people. Logan said he'd been walking around the camp trying to find water. Joanna said she'd been playing games on her smartphone. Samantha claimed she'd been sleeping all day long to save energy. And Nick said he'd been preparing a report in his tent. Can you figure out who's lying? Joanna isn't telling the truth. Within 3 days, her phone would have already run out of battery. And the expedition doesn't have any power, remember?
Oh.
James was walking near the river in the evening when a group of people dressed in black and wearing masks grabbed him. The leader told James that he had 3 options. They could throw him into the sea with hungry piranhas. He could choose to get dumped into the ocean swarming with sharks, or he could opt for a river with hippos. What option should James pick to survive? Piranhas only live in fresh water. The guy should pick the sea with piranhas.
Yeah!
Ah, look at the groom. It seems he might not live long enough to become a husband.
Oh no!
One of these ladies has bitten him. Which one was it? It was Lady C. Look at her ears. She doesn't seem to be human.
Oh.
Look at these 2 pictures and try to figure out who is the robot here. Despite their unusual tattoos, the girls are humans. The robot is actually the cat in the picture on the right. Have you noticed that it's charging through a USB port on its side?
Oh.
Students knew they would have an exam on Monday, but their professor refused to tell them the exact time. Every time they asked, they got a weird reply. If 11 plus 2 equals 1, 10 plus 6 equals 4. If you manage to figure out the answer, you won't miss the exam. Do you know when the students should meet with their professor? At 4 p.m. 11 o'clock plus 2 hours is 1 p.m. Then 10 o'clock and 6 hours is 4 p.m.
Oh.
Look at these seemingly wealthy women. In reality, one of them is just pretending to be rich. Which one is it? It's the lady on the left. Her bag is fake. The label claims it's Goosey when it's supposed to be Gucci.
Oh my god.
Mark is locked in a room. There are 4 doors there. The guy has entered through one of them and he can't use it again. The first door leads to the room with high voltage wires hanging above the wet floor. Behind the second door, there's a water-filled room swarming with sharks. And the third door hides a room where acid flesh-melting rain is falling from the ceiling. Which door is the least dangerous and can give Mark a chance to escape? Mark should opt for the first door. It'll be safe if Mark doesn't let his body come into contact with the wires and the wet floor at the same time. Now, try to crack this tricky riddle. It's nothing but holes tied to other holes. At the same time, this thing is as strong as steel but not as stiff as a pole. So what's your idea? What is it? It's a chain. Two people were born at the exact same time but have different birth dates. How is it even possible? These people were born in different time zones in different places in the world. Now you have to think outside the box to crack this one. 1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters, the word 3 has 5, and the word 5 consists of 4 letters. But the word 4 has 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4. And the game will end there. Mira inherited an old house from her granddad. When she was exploring the cellar, she came across a massive wooden door. She opened it and saw a small room with 3 bags and a note. One of the bags has $1 million and the others are empty. You can only open one bag, so think carefully. Mira also noticed there was a message on each bag. The first bag claimed, "The cash is not here." The message on the second bag was, "The cash is not here." And the third bag said, "The cash is in the second bag." If only one message is true, which bag has the money? The money can't be in the second or third bags. If it was so, then 2 messages would be true. It means the money is in the first bag. William took part in a game show and ended up as one of the 2 contestants to make it to the finals. He came up to the table with 3 cups on it, but only one of these drinks was safe to try. The other 2 were poisoned, and even though a mistake wouldn't cost William his life, the consequences would be unpleasant. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one should William choose? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have already melted completely. But it didn't happen. Cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink. William opted for the hot chocolate and won the challenge. Look at these people walking along the sea attentively. One of them isn't human. Who is it? It's the young guy in the middle. He has no shadow. Creepy. When you look for something, you always find it in the last place where you search. Why is that? It's always the last place where you look, because after this, you stop your search. One of these ladies is a sporty man's wife. How long will it take you to guess which one it is? It's the girl who doesn't have a helmet, because her helmet is waiting for her on her husband's bike. All of these people seem to be terribly sick. Oh, I see. It's the maid. She's poisoned them. But what if I tell you that one of these people is actually faking poisoning, trying to save their life? Can you figure out who it is?
Oh my God!
It's the woman on the left wearing a red dress. She hasn't even touched her drink.
Ah!
Look at these ladies very attentively. One of them has stolen a watermelon. Can you understand which one it is? It's the woman on the right. The watermelon is actually peeking through her clothes. You're walking through a forest when you see a big lake. In the middle of the lake, you notice 3 cages floating on the surface. Inside, there are 3 people. Adam's cage is blocked by a huge chunk of ice. Luke's cage is locked with a massive padlock. And on top of Helen's cage, there's a container with boiling water. You can help only one of them. Who should you pick? You should choose to help Luke. The ice blocking Adam's cage will melt sooner or later, the boiling water will evaporate, and Helen will be able to escape, but Luke won't get out of the cage on his own.
Help!
2 identical vans were crossing the bridge when it collapsed. The cars fell into the water and started to sink. Luckily, the drivers were unharmed, but they had to figure out how to get to the surface really fast because the vans started to fill with water. One of the drivers began to push the closest door, and the other tried to open the side door. Who has a higher chance of survival?
Help!
The first driver won't be able to open the door because of the water pressure, but the side door in the second car is a sliding door. With some effort, the second driver will be able to open it and escape. I've got a bunch of new riddles for you, oh great detective. Concentrate and crack them all like nuts. Look at this picture very attentively. One of these people attacked the artist, but can you figure out who it was? The artist started writing the letter K and then another letter, but he didn't have time to finish it. It seems to be an I, so the culprit could be Kitty. But at the same time, it also looks as if the artist simply didn't have time to finish the letter L, which is another letter that can be confused with I. So, if the injured man tried to write the lower part of the letter L but didn't have enough time to finish it, it could easily be Claude, who attacked him. What do you think? Was it Claude or Kitty? Write your answer in the comments. These people seem to be rather strange, but only one of them is a real vampire. Who is it? All of them are drinking something red, but it might be just some pomegranate juice. The girl on the left has a blood red streak next to her mouth, but it might just be smudged lipstick. The man has weird teeth, but they could be artificial. As for the woman on the right, she must be the vampire. Have you noticed that she doesn't have a reflection in the mirror? This couple is about to get married. What a happy event. But not everything is rainbows and butterflies here. One of the people in the picture is actually an alien. Have you spotted this guest from another planet? It's the bride herself. Look, she's got 3 arms. Continuing with the topic of extraterrestrial visitors, you need to find an alien among these athletes. Can you spot anything unusual about them? The guy on the left must be an alien. He's got 2 left hands. Yikes. Creepy. Now this guy seems to be lost and confused. There are 2 doors in front of him, and both ladies seem friendly. But one of the doors isn't safe to enter. Which one is it? It's the door on the left. This glamorous lady is offering the guy a ride, but do you see that strange decor in her apartment? Especially the skull? At the same time, the second woman looks quite disheveled. But despite her messy appearance, offering food might just be a kind gesture. In any case, a ride with a stranger holds more risk than a simple hamburger. Look at these bathrooms very attentively. Your task is to figure out which of them belongs to a zombie. Well, both bathrooms look kinda disgusting, but a real zombie leaves on the left. Do you see that glass standing on the sink in the left room? The zombie keeps his fingers there. Ugh! We've got 3 Miss School contestants here. They look pretty and all, but one of them is actually dangerous. Which one is it? It's the girl in the pink dress. There's blood on her crown. Another day, another monster. Look at these people attentively and try to figure out which of them is a werewolf. The man on the left is just wearing a mask. It's quite obvious. The lady in the middle might have had some kind of an accident, hence the bizarre blue spots on her body. But the man on the right is literally covered with fur, which he is trying to hide with his clothes, but his true nature can still be spotted. A crazy scientist captured Mark and locked him in his lab to use the guy for his experiments. Luckily, the guy managed to get out of the lab, taking along 3 pills. Each of them worked for 10 seconds. The green pill could provide him with regeneration abilities. The red pill could allow him to become invisible. And the blue pill provided him with the ability to fly. To get out of there, Mark had to pass through 3 rooms. One was guarded by a vampire, the second one was protected by a werewolf, and the third one hosted a maniac with a chainsaw. Which pill should Mark take to pass through each room? Mark needs to take the invisibility pill to get past the vampire, the pill enabling him to fly to get past the werewolf, and the regeneration pill to escape the chainsaw. Simon was stuck at a gas station 50 miles away from the city. His car was broken and could be repaired only by the end of the day. Luckily, there were 3 drivers who were ready to offer him a ride to the city. Look at these people and try to understand which car is safe. The driver in the red car is actually a criminal. The police have been looking for the vehicle he's driving. It must have been stolen. The man in the yellow car must be a criminal too, since he is depicted on the wanted poster on the wall. Only that granny in the blue car is safe to ride with. Maria Walker, a rich businesswoman, collected ancient pieces of art. One day, she managed to buy a priceless Chinese figurine. Maria locked it in a safe in her office and went home. But the next morning, the figurine was gone. Police have 3 suspects, all of them Miss Walker's subordinates. The detective asked each of them if they'd taken the figurine from the safe. Beverly said she hadn't been to the office since Monday. Ralph said that he didn't even know how to open safes and wasn't interested in Chinese art. And Vincent admitted that he'd been to Miss Walker's office after her departure, but he only took some documents he needed. Have you understood who the thief was? It was Ralph. Otherwise, how would he know the figurine was Chinese? Mary was a college teacher. It was the beginning of a new school year and 3 new students joined the class. When Mary saw them, she immediately realized something was off about one of them. What did she notice? The guy in the middle doesn't have a shadow. Logan worked as a security officer on a small cruise ship. One day, during a severe storm, he found Mr. Lewis lying on the deck. When the man came to his senses, he said someone had hit him on the head and had taken his wallet. Logan had 3 suspects. He visited them in their cabins. Linda told him she was feeling queasy because of seasickness. She couldn't even get up from her bed. Denise said she'd been watching a movie on her smartphone. And Philip said he'd been writing a letter to his wife. Logan immediately understood who had hit Mr. Lewis. Do you know? It was Philip. Look at his letter. The handwriting is immaculate. But it's impossible to write so accurately during a storm. Look at these elderly ladies. Both of them have gone out for a walk. At first glance, they seem totally normal. But one of them is actually planning something bad. Can you figure out which granny it is? It's the granny on the right. She's got a file hidden in her knitting basket. Look at this explorer. He seems to be in a tough situation. There are 4 tunnels in front of him. The first one seems to be freezing cold, with some perilous-looking icicles hanging over the entrance. The second tunnel looks outright creepy. A giant shark is in the third tunnel, and the fourth pass is covered with molten lava. Where should our explorer go? He should opt for the first tunnel. Have you noticed a rather well-trodden track there? So this way can't be too dangerous. Kenneth was hungry. He found a nice diner that served burgers and bought one. After a waiter brought him his order, Kenneth went to the bathroom to wash his hands. But when he came back, his burger was gone. The guy looked around the diner and understood who had taken his lunch. Can you figure it out? It's this young woman. A dog is sitting at her feet and sniffing the air. If she was just drinking coffee, which is what she's pretending to do, the dog wouldn't be so interested in her.
Okay, bad news. You got taken. No time to explain. Let's just get out of here. So you find yourself in a dark cell with a dirt floor and a small window at twice your height. There's no food or water, but there's a shovel. Why did they leave the shovel? Don't ask me, I don't know. Just be happy you have it. However, you can't dig your way out because the walls go a long way underground. So, how do you get out? You can still dig and make a high dirt pile that will make you reach the window and get out of there. So you do just that and find yourself in a dark corridor. You have nothing to do but to go straight, hoping that sooner or later you'll find the exit and get out of this creepy place. Half an hour later, you approach a metal door. You have to enter the passcode, but here's a hint. Berlin, 600. Paris, 400. London, 600. Rome, 200. Toronto, what's the passcode? Each consonant in the word gives 200 points, while each vowel takes away 100 points. In the word Toronto, there are 4 consonants that give 800 together. 3 vowels take away 300 points. So the passcode is 500. The door clicks and you leave another obstacle behind. Soon, you approach 3 more doors. Behind the first one, there's an iron block with a movement sensor that will crush everyone who enters. Behind the second door, there's an electric shocker that never misses. Behind the third door, there's broken glass all over the floor. Which way do you choose? You pick the third door, obviously. You're wearing some boots, right? So, walking on the glass is definitely not going to be too hard of a task. You follow the tunnel till you reach the next room. As you step in there, a metal cage falls down from the ceiling and traps you inside. However, there are 3 buttons there. The red button will open the cage, but it'll also open a door with a hungry lion. The blue button will fill the cage with water for 10 minutes, and only then will it open the door. However, keep in mind that people can only live 7 minutes without oxygen. The green button will set the room on fire, but will open the cage door in 5 minutes. Which one do you choose? You should choose the blue button. The water won't be able to fill the cage because it will just splash outside. You'll only have to wait 10 minutes until the door opens, and you'll be able to get out safely. You turn right and immediately bump into a huge guard. Your heart skips a beat and you get paralyzed with fear. To your surprise, the guard looks down at you and asks, "Want to pass?" Speechless, you just nod. Okay. You see, no one here wants to play riddles with me. If you solve one of my riddles, I'll let you go and won't tell anyone I've seen you. Deal? You nod again, and here comes your riddle. What is that invention that lets you see right through walls? That's a window, of course. The guard smiles and says, "Beware of the vampires." Then he moves aside, letting you go. Wow, that was close. And vampires? This gives you chills, but you have to keep moving and get out. And again, another door that requires a passcode. Can you crack it? There's a hint again. You should continue the sequence. OTTFFSSENT. Each of these letters is the first letter of the numbers. O for 1, T for 2, T for 3, then 4, 5, and so on. The last stands for 10, so the next 4 are ETTF, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Yep, that's correct. The door clicks open. Move! You get into a huge dark room. All the light comes from the candles the room is filled with. The problem is that there are 4 ways, and again, you don't know which one to take. Suddenly, each of the doors opens and 4 people walk into the room. There are 2 men, 1 woman, and 1 teenage girl. They all say they're prisoners too, and the other 3 are vampires. Who do you trust? You should trust the second man. He's the only one who casts a shadow from the light of the candles. The other 3 don't, so they must be vampires. So you rush to the man and you shut the door behind yourself. It'll probably slow them down for a while. As you're running, the man tells you he's been here for at least 3 days. The next obstacle is something he couldn't solve by himself, so he couldn't get out. There's just one try, and if you fail, the exit gets blocked for 24 hours. Finally, you come across another door with a robot guarding it. To let you go, the robot needs you to say the password. The tricky thing is that the password is different each time. The man said that as he was hiding in the room, he saw the vampires passing it twice. The first time, the robot said 12, and the vampire said 6. The other time, the robot said 6, and the vampire said 3. When the man approached the robot the last time, the robot said 8. The man replied 4, but the robot didn't let him in. The door got blocked, so it wasn't the right answer. You nod and approach the robot. The robot says 4. What is your answer? The answer is 4. The rule isn't dividing the number by 2, but saying the number of letters in the word. Your answer is accepted. The robot opens the door and lets you go. Again, another dark room. But as you step into it, you get surrounded by 8 hungry dogs. In the middle, there's a meat cake standing so high on the table that the dogs can't reach it. To calm them down and make them your friends before they make you their dinner, you have to feed them the cake. But here's a tricky thing. The knife is magical and can only make 3 cuts. After 3 cuts, it disappears. Your task is to divide the cake into 8 equal pieces with these 3 cuts. How can you manage that? With 1 cut, you cut the cake in half and get 2 pieces. Then you make another perpendicular cut and get 4 pieces. With your last move, you have to cut the cake in the middle horizontally, splitting each of the 4 pieces into 2 at once. Great job! Now, give each of the dogs a piece of cake and get out of there immediately. You rush to the door and lock it behind yourselves. You're in a tunnel again, and this time there's no light at all. You move in complete darkness, putting your hand to the wall so that you know where to go. You walk like that for at least half an hour when, finally, you see some light. You run towards it and come across another massive door that requires a passcode. Luckily, there's a hint again, but there will be 2 questions appearing one by one. To get the passcode, you have to solve both of them and put the answers together. Ready? How many months have 28 days? All 12 of them, obviously. Okay, next one. Here's the sequence of letters. S, M, H, D, W. What are the other 2 letters? S stands for seconds, M for minutes, H for hours, D is for days, W is for weeks. So the next letters are M for months and Y for years. And the full passcode is 12MW. The door clicks and you're outside. Finally! There's actual air and sun. But before you start thinking about what happened and what to do next, a police officer comes up to you. With him, there are 2 ladies wearing paper bags over their heads. "Sir, are you Mr. Jones?" the police officer asks. You reply, "That's you exactly." However, the police officer looks suspicious. "Well, we can't know for sure that you're not one of these criminals pretending to be someone else, so we have to test you. One of these ladies is your bride. Tell us which one it is." And now, you finally remember what happened. It was your wedding morning. You were about to get married, and then you found yourself in that dungeon. Well, the problem is that you haven't seen your wife-to-be wedding dress yet, so you can't even tell which one is the right one. Is there any other way to tell? Think carefully. With their faces covered, these girls are absolutely identical. You didn't need much time. You noticed that one of the girls is wearing a wedding ring already. However, you and your bride aren't married yet, so she's not supposed to have one. And the one who doesn't have it is yours. Congratulations! The girl removes the bag, and you see that it's really her. Right behind you, the door opens and the vampires walk out. You're about to start screaming, but they take off their wigs and they turn out to be your friends. So, was it all a prank? Well, yeah, it was. But don't be mad. You had fun, right? Well, most of the time. Regina and Claire went to a shopping mall on the weekend to buy some clothes. Regina saw an escalator going down with a big banner that said, "Huge sale! Everything 99% off." Of course, they hurried there. Who wouldn't? But as soon as they headed there, everything faded out. The mall and the part of the escalator behind them vanished. It got all dark, and they had no other option but to go where the escalator would take them. They arrived at a place where they couldn't see anything. Regina yelled for help. Suddenly, 3 signs appeared in front of them. The first one said, "This leads to a sea filled with flesh-eating mutant sharks." The second went, "This leads to a forest with brain-sucking zombie mosquitoes." And the third one said, "This leads to a cave covered with sharp rocks and bats with giant claws." Which one should they choose? Well, bats are harmless until provoked, whether they have small or big claws, so they should choose the third one. And as for the sharp rocks, they just need to watch their steps. They started walking in the direction of the cave when suddenly a peculiar tiny monster cut their way. "Welcome to the underworld, home of all monsters. We hope you enjoy your stay. Even if you don't, you can't ever leave here anyway." And it vanished out of sight. That's when a scary-looking city started to appear around them. "What does it mean that we can't leave?" Claire asked. "There must be someone who can help us," Regina replied. "Psst, over here," a creepy monster said from the corner of the street. "Crack my riddle and I'll tell you who can help you. What goes around the house and into the house without ever touching the house?" It's the sun. So, if you want to see it again, go to the restaurant called Cantina Hella and find the only human there. He might help you. And the monster left. Regina and Claire found it, but a bodyguard stopped them at the entrance. "Password?" "We don't have it," Regina said. The bodyguard handed them a piece of paper with these numbers on it. The number that comes next is the password. Can you figure it out? Every next number is made by moving the first digit of the previous one to the end. So the password is 1793. Regina and Claire walked in. The place was super crowded with human-looking monsters everywhere. It seemed impossible to spot the only real human in there. Can you see him? Well, the others may look human, but if you take a closer look, you can see their tails, fangs, horns, and all that. But this guy here doesn't have any of that. So he must be who they're looking for. Regina and Claire approached the man. His name was Eddie. They told him all about what they'd been through. He said, "I know how you can get back. I do travel to Earth and back here all the time. I'll help you. Meet me here in an hour." Then he gave them his card and left. On it, there was strange writing. Can you decipher it? You need to replace all the letters with the previous letter that comes before them in the alphabet. So it says police station. Regina and Claire got hungry, so they decided to order something to eat. The waiter brought them 3 different desserts. Which one should they choose? Did you notice that the eyes on the first one are actually blinking? I wouldn't eat that. And the teeth inside the second one are real. Well, that's creepy. But the worms inside the third one are just gummy worms. And what looks like dirt is actually chocolate crumble. So they should definitely eat this one. After eating, they headed to the police station to find Eddie. When they arrived, they saw Eddie was really panicked. "I'm a monster hunter, like a detective of the underworld, and I caught this extremely dangerous monster called Winona. But she escaped from her prison cell. I don't know how." But Claire immediately figured out how she escaped. Can you? Look at the poster on the wall. It's moving slightly. There must be an airflow behind it that is coming from a tunnel. Suddenly, a guardian rushed next to them and said, "Sir, someone claimed they spotted Winona at the gym." Everyone rushed there. The receptionist silently pointed them in the direction of the changing cabins. They saw the feet of 3 different monsters in 3 different changing rooms. One of them was Winona. Can you tell which one? Do you remember what the other prisoners were all wearing? The monster in the 3rd cabin is wearing the same thing, so she must be Winona. Eddie kicked the door of the 3rd cabin, and there she was. Yet Winona looked extremely calm for a monster who was about to go back to jail.
Not so fast,
she said, and created 4 clones of herself. Now there were 5 Winonas in front of them.
I will give you a hint about who the real me is and let you take me back to jail only if you agree to place me in the most luxurious cell.
All the Winonas said at the same time. Eddie had no choice but to accept. The 1st and 4th clones said that number 5 was the real Winona. The 2nd and the 3rd clones said that number 1 was the real Winona. And the 5th clone said that number 2 was the real Winona. Only one of these statements was true, and the other 4 were lies. So, can you tell which clone is actually the real one? If only one of them told the truth, then neither the 1st nor the 5th clone could be the real Winona, since that would mean 2 clones told the truth. Nor could the real Winona be the 3rd or the 4th clone, since that would mean no one told the truth. So the only way one of them told the truth is if the 2nd clone is the real Winona. After Eddie placed Winona in her new luxury cell, it was time to help Regina and Claire get back home. He took them to a place called the Hound Tattoo Studio and explained that the only way they could go back home was to get a key-shaped tattoo, which would open a portal to Earth. The tattoo artist showed them his key symbols catalog and said each different key shape opened a portal to another land, and they needed to pick the one that would open a portal to Earth, because if they can't, nobody knows where they travel. Can you help them? Remember, Eddie told them that he travels to the Earth all the time. Then he must have the Earth portal key tattoo as well. Now, let's take a closer look at all his tattoos. Here is the key-shaped one, and this key on the catalog is the same. So it must be the one that will help them go back home. After their tattoos were complete, Eddie activated their magic to send them home. Regina and Claire felt dizzy, as if falling through a rabbit hole. Then, suddenly, they woke up in their bedrooms at home. Wait, none of that was real? How do you think they can tell if this was all a dream or not? Simple. They should just check if they really have tattoos now. Yup, there they are. They definitely didn't have them when they were at the mall. Well, that was weird.
Susie writes scary tales, but her own life is rather boring. She lives alone with her cats. How many cats does Susie have? Can you count? That's right, 12. This cat on the shelf is a statuette. Susie had just finished writing her new novel and went to meet with her agent, Harry. Susie found him unconscious in his office. The police questioned 3 suspects. The cleaner said he'd been washing windows in Harry's office all morning. At that time, Harry was feeling perfectly fine. Sarah, another author, had an important business lunch outside the office. And George, also a writer, was writing a new novel at home. Who's lying? The cleaner. If he washed the windows, why are they so dirty? Susie returned home and went to bed. But in the middle of the night, strange sounds woke her up. She saw 3 ghosts in the middle of her bedroom. She noticed that one of the ghosts wasn't real and asked him to stop fooling around. Which ghost is fake? This guy over here. He's not transparent, and he's casting a shadow. The fake ghost took off his mask and costume. As soon as Susie saw his face, she started screaming. Why? Look at this poster on the wall. The guy looks exactly like the character from the cover of one of Susie's novels. Alex, is that you? Susie asked. Alex said, Yes, and I need your help. My world is in danger. Susie was willing to help him, but first, she wanted Alex to crack a riddle. I'm something people love or hate. I change people's appearances and thoughts. If a person takes care of themselves, I increase. I fool some people. To others, I am a mystery. Some people try to hide me, but I still show. And no matter how hard people try, I never go down. What am I? Alex answered correctly. Together, they entered a portal that had opened in Susie's mirror. What was his reply? It's age. Susie found herself inside her own scary tale. In front of the main gates leading to Ghost Town, skeletons stopped Susie and Alex. They said, If you want to enter the town, you have to guess our riddle first. Why are skeletons so chill? Susie gave the right answer, and they passed through. What did she say? Because nothing gets under their skin. Susie and Alex walked up to an old castle where a werewolf and a beauty lived. The locals said the girl didn't actually want to live there. The beauty invited Susie and Alex to the castle and said, My husband will be here soon. You have to hide. They hid in the basement and locked the door. But in the middle of the night, the werewolf managed to open the door and charged at them. How did the werewolf find them? The beauty was the werewolf. Susie and Alex ran away from the werewolf's castle and hid in a small cabin. But it was a trap. Someone locked the door from the outside. The walls of the cabin began to move. The pair had only 30 seconds to choose the right door to escape. The first door led to a tunnel with dangerous snakes and scorpions. There was a tiny wooden elevator behind the second door. And there was hot lava behind the third door. Which door should they choose? The second one. Although the elevator is small, they can still fit in together and escape from the creepy cabin. Susie and Alex got outside and saw a suspicious vampire. But he said, No worries, I won't bite you if you manage to solve my riddle. I run through hills, I veer around mountains, I leap over rivers and crawl through forests. Step out of your door to find me. What am I? Alex answered, and the vampire had to let them go. What did he say? I'm a road. The two were walking through a forest and came across two women. Alex whispered into Susie's ear, Be careful, one of them is a ghost. Which one is it? This lady over there. She doesn't have a shadow. Susie and Alex continued their crazy quest and met three friends on a beach. One of these guys was a werewolf. Can you guess which one? This guy. Look at his footprints. He's turned into a human only recently. Susie and Alex decided to have a picnic on this romantic beach. Suddenly, they heard singing. A mermaid hypnotized them with her beautiful voice and took them to her underwater kingdom. When Susie woke up, she asked the mermaid to let them go. The magical creature answered, "I will let you go if you help me cut this cake into 4 pieces with only 2 cuts." Have you figured out how to do it? First, they should cut the cake in half. Now they need to cut the cake sideways through the middle so that it has 2 layers. Now the cake is divided into 4 pieces with only 2 cuts. The mermaid let them go. As soon as Susie and Alex got to the shore, they saw flames. Ms. Adams's warehouse was on fire. The locals caught 3 suspects. These people were near the warehouse when the fire started, but the police didn't find any matches or a lighter anywhere. Can you help Susie understand who the criminal is? There he is. He used his glasses and the sun's rays to start the fire. Sometime later, Susie and Alex met an elegant princess. She was crying because someone had stolen all her jewelry. She wanted to find the thief immediately. Alex questioned the neighbors.
"I was on the 2nd floor when I heard someone break in. They stole all the money from my safe, too,"
Ms. Skeleton said. Another neighbor, Ms. Monster, said that someone had taken away her priceless antique vase. Susie knew for sure that one of the ladies was lying. After all, she had written this story. But Alex couldn't figure out who the thief was. Can you help him? It was Ms. Skeleton. She said she was on the 2nd floor, but her house is a 1-story building. An elf called Derek came up to Susie and asked her for help. He hadn't seen his girlfriend Fiona for 2 weeks. He was afraid that something terrible could have happened to her. Susie and Alex went to the address Derek had given them. Fiona ran a cute magic goods store, but the locals said that she had a secret room for black magic rituals in the basement of her store. Can you see any clues or secret doors? This painting on the wall is hanging straight, but there are scratches on the wall, as if someone had been moving the painting lots of times. Susie and Alex moved the painting too, and this opened a secret door. They went downstairs and found the room. They looked through Fiona's magical tools and notes and found out that she had been working on a recipe for an immortality potion. The last record in her notes was this: "Today I'm gonna test my potion on myself." They saw a suspicious door with a huge lock at the back of the lab. Alex broke the door down, and they saw Fiona sitting on a chair, unconscious. She was holding an empty bottle. What happened there? Did Fiona fail her experiment, or did someone help her? Someone else has definitely been here. If Fiona had simply fainted, she wouldn't have been able to lock the door. Alex brought Fiona to a hospital. He noticed 3 people in the hall, but something seemed a little weird to him. What is it? This doctor's first aid kit has the wrong image on it. Alex confessed to Susie that he liked her and asked her out. They went on a date to a local concert hall. Suddenly, they noticed a pianist lying unconscious on the stage. He was holding a note in his hand. The police immediately questioned the suspects. The conductor said he'd been talking to journalists in his room. The janitor said he'd been cleaning the lobby. And the flutist was practicing for the concert. Who's guilty? The flutist. This note is a rebus riddle that says flute. Susie and Alex went to a magic show. The magician claimed he could read anyone's mind with his fingers. Susie didn't believe him. "I can prove it," the magician said, and asked for 2 volunteers. Susie and a girl called Amy went to the stage and wrote their thoughts on 2 pieces of paper. They rolled them up and put them in the magician's hat. The man took out the first note and said, "Get ready to see some real magic. Someone loves a guy named Mike." And that was exactly what Amy thought. Everybody was shocked and began to applaud. The magician unrolled the first piece of paper and put it aside. Then he pulled the second one out and said, "Susie doesn't believe in my magic." And that was the correct answer too. But Susie knew the magician was cheating. How? The second volunteer was fake. The magician already knew what she had written. That's why he said her phrase first. Then he unfolded Susie's piece of paper, memorized the text, and said it later. The magician was very offended, so he called the show's acrobats to take revenge. The acrobats grabbed Susie and Alex and made them participate in a creepy survival game. Susie and Alex had to walk over a glass bridge. One wrong step, and they'd fall down where the hungry lions were already waiting for them. But if they succeeded in this challenge, Alex would turn into a real person. Half of the glass slabs that made up this bridge were very fragile, but the rest of them were very strong. How could Susie and Alex get to the other side and stay alive? They need to crawl close to the middle of the bridge, along the metal beams. Next morning, Susie woke up in her bedroom. She yelled, "Oh my, it was just a dream." But it wasn't. How can you tell? Alex's shirt is hanging on Susie's chair.
Hannah runs a dance show. She arrived in Finland with the 3 best dancers to perform during the winter holidays. On the first day of the trip, Hannah started to feel really bad and was taken to the doctor. After examining Hannah, the doctor claimed that someone had poisoned the girl. Hannah's manager flew in to interrogate each one of the dancers and find out if they'd had anything to do with what happened to Hannah. Kira said that she and the other girls had left the hotel early in the morning to explore the city. She also mentioned that Hannah had stayed behind to do a conference call in her room. Pam said she had spent the afternoon swimming at the beach, and that when she returned, she noticed Hannah was looking pretty bad. April said she decided to go to the museum all by herself since the other girls didn't want to join her. Hannah's manager noticed the girls' testimonies didn't match, and that it was definitely one of them who'd done it. Can you guess who is the culprit? It was Pam.
Oh, no.
She mentioned she'd gone to the beach, but it's wintertime in Finland. The water is freezing and mainly frozen this time of the year. She should have worked better on her alibi.
Oh no!
Hannah's manager called the police, and they arrested Pam. Kira and April felt bad for their friend, but they still had to put on a show, and now they were a dancer short. The girls decided to look online for a new dancer. They found 3 girls who might do a good job at replacing Pam. Deborah, Lily, and Sally. One of the girls is a perfect match for the trio. Can you guess who? It's Sally. Both of the other profiles are fake. If you look closely at Deborah's picture, you'll see that the shadow on the back is not hers. It's definitely photoshopped. And look at Lily's birthday information. If that were true, she wouldn't have been born yet. Keith was a singer, and he was going to perform at Bath's House of Performing Arts. He was taking all of his equipment backstage to get ready for a sound check when a police officer ran into the room. The officer said that one of the actors from that night's show was a runaway criminal. There were 4 actors playing Santa Claus, but one of them was a fake. Take a look at their bags. Can you figure out who the criminal is? It's the owner of the 3rd bag. Santa never shaves off his beard, and that guy is carrying shaving cream. He must be the runaway. Becky just bought new augmented reality goggles. She decided to play one of the games available, and this picture popped up right in front of her. These 3 people sure are in some bizarre situations, but which one doesn't make any sense? The man on the left is walking on lava. Sure, someone can do that, although it won't last for too long without the right kind of shoes. The man on the right is walking on desert sand, which is fully normal. But the woman in the middle looks like she is walking on burning water. That definitely doesn't make any sense. Felicity was 10 weeks pregnant when she decided to try a new doctor in town. The doctor did an ultrasound of her belly and gladly said, "Ah, it's a boy." Felicity looked confused and said, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm having twins." The doctor was the one that looked confused after Felicity's answer. "Take a look at both women. Can you tell who's right?" Felicity is right. I mean, take a look at this doctor. She isn't even a real doctor in the first place. She's not wearing proper medical attire, and she doesn't look like she knows what she is doing. Alex watched one too many Indiana Jones movies and decided to go to Egypt to explore ancient monuments. He spent days and days walking underground to try to find something valuable. One morning, when exploring a crypt, he ran into a huge wall full of symbols. Among the symbols, there was an encrypted message. It went like this: sun plus sun equals sign, moon plus moon equals sign, wave plus wave equals sign. Can you help Alex figure out the encoded message? This is not an easy one, but here's how it works. Sun has 3 letters, moon has 4 letters, and waves has 5 letters. So the encrypted message is the number sequence. 6, 8, 10. Way to go, you. Take a good look at this image. Can you tell who is smarter? Let's see. There's a part of the house on fire, so ice would be a bad way to try to extinguish it. You would have to wait for the ice to melt into water. But during that time, the fire just grows. Liquid water is the best medium for rapid extinguishment, so the person on the right looks like they know what they are doing. Aura had been searching for the entrance to Bythia, a hidden city inside a mountain, for ages. She searched the 7 seas and the 7 lands until she finally found a hidden door, guarded by 3 ancient creatures. She asked them if this was the entrance to Bythia, but they wouldn't say a word. Finally, the wise owl said she had to give a correct answer to a riddle from each creature, and only then they would tell her about Bythia. The wise owl said, "I have branches, yet I'm not a tree. I have a bank, yet I hold no money. What am I? Can you help Aura out?" The correct answer is a river. A river has branches that flow into different streams, and the sides of the river are called riverbanks. The fox was up next, and his riddle said, "I have a bed, yet I don't sleep. I have a mouth, yet don't eat. What am I?" Aura took a while to figure this one out, but she got it right. Can you guess what she said? It's an oven, duh. Pretty obvious now that you think of it. Up next was the deer. He said, "I have a face, yet no eyes to see. I have a tail, yet no ability to wag. What am I?" Do you know how to answer this one? It's a clock. A clock has a face with numbers but no eyes. And it has a tail that we call a pendulum, but it doesn't wag like an animal's tail. The wise owl opened the door and showed Aura that there were 3 pathways leading to Bythia. She should choose the correct one, otherwise she would get stuck in this in-between place forever and would never be able to get out. Take a look at the pathways. Which one should Aura choose to complete her journey? The first pathway looks like it has some poisonous flowers. The air looks like it's filled with their poisoned pollen, so that wouldn't be a nice one to go. The second pathway has dozens of angry-looking stags that could harm Aura, and the last one has a big lake that leads into a trail. She should go with the last one. On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in, order pizza, and watch the Riddle channel on their TV. On the screen, they saw a man hanging for his life on the branch of a tree. He was surrounded by angry people. Down below, there were a group of guys with huge bats waiting for him to let go of the branch, and above him was an angry guy on a helicopter ready to grab him. Is there any way the guy can escape this trap? He should throw the bat that's in his pocket to the floor, aiming at the group below him. Hopefully, it would hit the guys below on the head, so he could let go of the branch and run as fast as he could into that nearby tunnel. This way, he'd escape the helicopter dude as well.
First, you pass through a dense forest and come to a river shore. The town is on the other side. You can't cross the river because of the strong current. Besides, you don't know how deep it is. You see a ruined bridge on your left. There's an old boat on your right, but it's unlikely to help. What will you do? You can't go back. Look, there's a hatch in the grass. It seems to be an underground tunnel passing through the river. You open the hatch and go down. It's dark, quiet, and cold here. You turn on the flashlight and see an empty bottle and a basketball on the ground. You direct the light further and see, wow, it's a creepy girl with long black hair. She's just staring at you, saying nothing. You're scared, but you're not gonna run. This girl is not real. But how did you know that? The basketball with the bottle casts shadows, but the girl doesn't. She's just a dark memory from your past. You rub your eyes, and the girl disappears. You go through an underground tunnel and climb up. Great! You made it into town. You walk down the street and notice that all the people are looking at you. Why do you seem suspicious to them? You've just come out of an underground tunnel. Your clothes and face are pretty dirty, so you're gonna stand out a bit. Everything is fine. You continue your mission. According to the map, you have to pass 2 more blocks to get to the building. Many people are rushing to work. You see a diner on the corner, a library, a school. Here's a big supermarket. But something is wrong here. Can you tell what it is? There are no cars on the roads. You're approaching the skyscraper. You try to open the door, but it's closed. Take a look around and decide how to get inside. You have 3 options: a fire escape, a hatch, and find out yourself. The fire escape leads to the window of the 2nd floor, but a guard is standing there. You can use the hatch, but see the steam coming out of it? It's boiling inside. So what about a tire iron? You can use it to break the lock. You're inside. It's very dark here. You turn on the flashlight, but it breaks down. What will you do to light your way? A flame from your lighter isn't enough. Look at the windows. They're all covered with curtains. Just pull them aside and let the light in. Great. You walk through the spacious hall and hear the flapping of wings. You're looking up. Oh no. Hundreds of bats are flying towards you. You need to hide as fast as possible. There are 3 elevators ahead. Which one will you choose? The first elevator is on the 25th floor. It will take too long to get down here. The number 0 is above the 2nd elevator. The third elevator doesn't show any numbers, so it doesn't work. So, the second elevator it is. You press the button of the second elevator and quickly go inside. You push 60 and lift up. The elevator gets stuck on the 35th floor. The lights turn off. You open the hatch and climb onto the roof. You see 2 other elevators coming up to you from below. Which one will you jump in? There's a fire in the first elevator. The second one fills with water. What will you choose to survive? You jump into the second elevator. The water rises higher and higher, but the doors open and all the water pours out. You're on the 40th floor. It seems that using elevators is a bad idea. So you decide to climb 20 floors by stairs. You run 5 floors and smash against the wall made of hardened sand. What will you do? You can't use the elevator. How to get through the obstacle? See the flashing fire safety sensor? Use your lighter to activate it. It's done. The water is splashing out of the ceiling and flooding all floors. It moistens the sand. The wall turns into dirt and melts. Hey, my talented Brightside detectives! Today I have something exciting for you. It'll let your brain do a little workout and have fun at the same time. Let's start, shall we?
Yeah.
Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot a fake princess? There's a price tag on this princess's tiara, so this girl is most likely not a member of the royalty. There are a lot of delicious products in this picture, but you'll never be able to cheer one of them up. Which one is it? A blueberry, because it's always blue. The next task is pretty tricky. You need to connect all the dots with just 4 straight lines. Let's see how you deal with this challenge. That's how you do it. Easy peasy. Just kidding, I actually failed this task. Now, can you make 4 out of these 3 sticks without breaking them? Yeah, you can. That's how it can be done. This is what I call creative thinking. Can you figure out what's wrong with this picture? This dice is all wrong. It has 7 dots on one of its sides, but it's impossible. The largest number of dots is 6. Look at this image. What word do you see there? A pot, the @ sign, aka aspirand, and a toe. Right, that's potato. The next one, a surfer and a spider web. What could it mean? If you figured out that this puzzle means surf the web, you're very smart. The next tricky riddle for you. You need to guess the brand hidden here. Look at the image attentively. Every small detail counts. The brand hiding here is Pringles. See? P-ring-goals. Clever, huh? The next task for you. Guess the food hidden in this puzzle. A small hint, you can grow this product. Cauliflower. That must be cauliflower. Look at these emojis and guess the word. It's colorful and often appears after the rain. Yep, we're talking about a rainbow here. Okay, now look at this t-shirt. And try to count how many holes it has. Keep in mind that this riddle may be a bit trickier than you think. I hope you didn't only count those nasty ripped holes, because those aren't the only ones this t-shirt has. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those holes are indeed ripped, and 8. Did you get it right? Another tricky puzzle for you. How many watermelons are here? There are 5 watermelons. Look how it works. Nice, right? It's time to put your attention skills to the test. Can you find the odd unicorn here? It's this one. The orange patch of its mane is missing stars. Look at these guys. Can you figure out who's living alone? The man on the right has 2 toothbrushes, so he's probably living with someone else. The man on the left, on the other hand, seems to be living on his own. How can you move just one match to make this equation correct? There are actually 3 ways to solve this puzzle. Either you make it look this way, or it can be 8 minus 3 equals 5. Or you can remove this match and get this. Now this is truly puzzling. 2 plus 2 equals fish. 3 plus 3 equals 8. 7 plus 7 equals a triangle. What does it mean? And how is it possible? The answer lies in the shape of these numbers. 2 and 2 turned this way indeed looks like a fish. 3 and 3 create a pretty 8. And 7 and 7 do look like a triangle, right? Use just 3 of these balls to get 30. A tiny hint, you may need to think outside the box and get creative. Just rotate this 9 and you'll get 6. And then 13 plus 11 plus 6 is indeed 30. Look at these people attentively. One of them sneaked out of the house some time ago and has just returned. Now they're pretending to be sleeping, but we know better, right? So who's the rule breaker? It's this girl with red hair. She's still wearing her shoes and they look wet. Maybe it's raining outside. Now this picture has lots of tiny details and it's going to be challenging to find the odd Grinch here. Can you do it? It's this one. Look, he's missing his fluffy headphones. And now, how about we train your detective skills? Larry's granddad was a wealthy man who loved playing pranks on his relatives. That's why when he passed away, no one could find his will. But one day, 5 years later, Larry was looking through some old papers. Suddenly, his breath caught in his throat. The document he was holding was his granddad's will. It read, "I hid all my money and other valuables at 2 p.m. sharp under my favorite cherry tree, right where its shadow ends. The one who digs it out will be my heir." Larry was going to be rich. He drove to his granddad's villa and found the cherry tree. He waited for an hour till 2 p.m. and started to dig. But try as he might, his efforts didn't pay off. Confused and upset, he had to return home. Why didn't he find anything? It's been several years since the granddad hid his valuables. The tree has grown taller, and its shadow has become longer too. James disappeared after going hiking with his friend Matthew. In a couple of days, the police found Matthew tottering along the highway. When they picked the man up, he told the officers James had gotten into a swamp and hadn't managed to get out. Unfortunately, Matthew could do nothing to save him. After listening to the man's story, the police officers arrested him. Why? Just look at this guy, in a white t-shirt, cleanly shaven. How is it possible after several days in the forest? A man living in a small village in the mountains got his goat stolen. He was sure one of his neighbors was behind this crime. The head of the village invited 4 suspects and said, "I'm going to give each of you a magic trick. Bring them to me in the morning. By that time, the thief's stick will have grown by 5 inches." The next day, the head of the village examined the suspects' sticks. He immediately knew who had taken the goat. How? The thief's stick was 5 inches shorter than those of the rest. He had broken it, expecting it to grow longer during the night. 2 best friends, Jack and Tyler, went to a tropical island to surf and have some rest. After an active day at the sea, they bought a large watermelon and ate it. In an hour or so, Tyler felt unwell and lost consciousness. Luckily, he was taken to a hospital in time. The doctors managed to save his life. But both guys ate the same watermelon. Tyler didn't have any kind of allergy. Then how come Jack was perfectly fine? Jack didn't eat watermelon seeds, and Tyler did. Whatever substance poisoned him was in the seeds. Every day, Mark rides his bike to the railway station to get to the college. There are 2 stops near his home. One is a mile away from his house, and the other is 2 miles away in the opposite direction. In the morning, he always gets on the train at the first stop, and in the afternoon, he gets off at the second. Why? Mark's home and the stations are on the hill, and this method allows the guy to ride his bike downhill without any effort. An inventor created a time machine. He packed enough food, water, and other necessities and was ready to test his invention. He set the timer to go 500 years back into the past. He was about to press the start button when a thought came to his mind. He took the time machine and his supplies and went downstairs. Why? This way, he'll avoid a nasty fall. Multi-story buildings weren't common 5 centuries ago.
Daisy returned home and noticed that someone had broken into her apartment and stolen her diamond necklace. The police arrive and question 3 neighbors. Greg was painting his ceiling. He was wearing headphones, so he couldn't hear anything. Bianca was hiking with her bestie all day long. They've just returned home. Glenda only went out once to walk her dog. She thinks she heard some weird noises from Daisy's apartment. Who's lying? Greg, take a look at his ceiling. Does it look freshly painted? Busted. Daisy works as a manager at the local circus. Her task is to prepare their new location for future performances. She arrives at the spot, takes a look at the stage, and freaks out. Why? Take a closer look at the sign. It says citrus instead of circus. Daisy goes to her favorite cafe to have lunch. There, she sees these three people. One of them was poisoned. Can you guess who? The third guy didn't even touch his cappuccino. He must be just sleeping. The second lady is awake. She has some cappuccino mustache, nothing criminal. But take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, so we can't say for sure whether he's awake or not. Meanwhile, his phone is ringing in his pocket, but he shows no reaction at all. That's suspicious. So he's the poisoned one. After lunch, Daisy enters one of the dressing rooms and finds their star, Clown Roger, unconscious on the floor. Daisy calls the police. They arrive very quickly and question three witnesses. Bob says he was just walking by. He has never seen this clown before. Mia says that she's a huge fan of Clown Roger, and she's very sorry. And Nick says that he's just a handyman. The circus hired him to fix problems with electricity. Who's lying? Bob. He said he had never seen this actor, but he's wearing a t-shirt which has a print of Clown Roger's face. So Bob must be his crazy fan. Daisy visits another star of the circus, Dave. He's a talented acrobat. Dave has just received a mysterious basket of candies with a letter. The sender is unknown. The letter says, "Dear Dave, thank you very much for your talent. I really like you. Let's go out sometime. Best wishes." There's no name on the letter. Dave has no clue who it could be from. Luckily, there's a short little riddle. 3rd of August, 4th of February, 2nd of May, 3rd of December, and 6th of October. Can you help him crack the code? The 3rd of August means the third letter in the word August, which is G. The fourth letter of February is R. The second letter of May is A, and so on. So the name of Dave's secret admirer is Grace. The circus company throws a corporate party. They ask all employees to wear some Halloween costumes. So Daisy heads to the shopping mall to get herself one. But they only have 3 options to choose from: a witch outfit, a mermaid costume, and a vampire costume. Can you help her make the best choice? Take a closer look at the witchy costume. This tag says it's made out of paper, so it's a bad idea to wear it at a party. As for the mermaid costume, the tail is torn at the back. So Daisy should pick the vampire outfit. Daisy arrives at the party. Everyone's dancing in their Halloween costumes, but one of these 4 people is a real vampire. Can you guess who? Let's see. The guy on the left is drinking something red, but he has a shadow, so he can't be a real vampire. The second lady looks pretty creepy, but if you look closely at the mirror on the wall, you'll see her reflection, so we can exclude her. We can also see the reflection of the fourth guy in the mirror. Only one lady is left, so she must be the real vampire. Daisy's town has an old haunted museum. Daisy and her friends decide to spend Halloween night inside the museum to have some spooky time. As the clock strikes midnight, the portraits hanging on the walls of the museum come to life. A portrait of a lady starts screaming for some help. She tells Daisy that the former employees dared to make a fake version of her portrait, and she wants Daisy to destroy it. But Daisy takes a look at the fake portrait and spots 3 differences from the original. She assures the lady that it can't hold a candle to the original. Can you spot them too? The lipstick color, the pendant, and the ribbon on her hair are all different. Then Daisy goes to the cafeteria to grab some snacks. There are 3 options only. Which one should she choose? Take a look at the date that's written on the potato chips bag. According to it, the chips expired in 1924, so that's a pass. The small note below the ice cream says it's earwax flavored. Nobody wants to taste that. So Daisy should pick the popcorn. Daisy keeps on walking and comes across a building. There are 2 ladies in 2 different apartment windows. Both seem to be busy with household duties, but one of them is dangerous. Can you guess who? The second lady is just getting rid of pests. There's nobody in the room and she's wearing a mask. But take a look at the lady on the left. There's an open bleach bottle next to the food she's cooking. Ew, no thank you. Daisy keeps on walking and faces something curious. It's a 5-letter word that is under you. If you remove its first letter, then it's over you. If you remove its first and second letters, it's all around you. What is it? It's just a chair. The next morning, Daisy arrives at the circus. She finds out that Dave was kidnapped by a mad scientist. He locked Dave in his lab in one room and put a zombie in another room. Daisy arrives at the lab to rescue Dave. She sees these 2 doors with 2 signs. Only one of them tells the truth, and another one lies. The sign on the first door says, "Dave is here and the zombie is in the next room." And the sign on the second door says, "The zombie is in one room and Dave is in the other." So, where's Dave? Dave is in the second room. If door 1 tells the truth, then door 2 is true too. This is contrary to the terms of the game. Daisy rescues Dave. They escape through a long corridor together. Soon the corridor splits into 3 tunnels. They are signed West, East, and South. The pair also see some weird inscriptions on the wall. Which corridor should they choose? Daisy and Dave should tilt their heads and look at the inscription upside down. This way, it reads South. The guys keep on walking and find a door, but it's locked. They need to enter a 4-digit password. Luckily, there's a hint nearby. It's a note that has 4 images. Can you help Daisy and Dave crack the code? Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects. This clover only has 1 color. The Santa hat has 2, the banana has 1, and finally the rainbow has 7. So the code is 1217. Daisy and Dave open the door and escape from the lab. They find themselves in the middle of an island. The guys hit the road and drive to the pier, where they face these 3 bridges leading to the mainland. Sharp rocks and glass cover the first bridge. The second one is swarming with venomous snakes. Hot orange lava is boiling on the third road. Which route should they choose? They're driving an open-top car, so it's dangerous to choose the snakes. The first bridge will destroy their tires, so they should pick the third route. The ocean will soon cool the lava down and turn it into stone.